Hello everyone, my name is Teddybear and welcome back to another video. You guys have probably noticed I haven't uploaded a video in like 3 weeks for like the 4th time in a row since the beginning of this year. Because I'm not going to make YouTube into like a job or anything. I'd rather have it as like a hobby, like when I want to upload whenever I want to. Besides messy video schedules, let's get to the main point of the video. A redo of my Splatoon 2 Salmon Run tier list of weapons. So here back on my thumbnail of my other video, Teddybear Splatoon 2 Salmon Run tier list, which I made over half a year ago, which got over 70 views. Thank you guys very much. Yeah, so on the thumbnail, there's the original tier list. So in ST we had Splashmatic, Flashshot Jr., Aerospray, 52 Gal, 96 Gal, Lunar Blaster, Flinger Roller, Slosher, Blah Blah Blah, Dapper Doolies, Splatling, and Grisco Blaster. And now if we go into the original, or into the newer tier list. So in the rework one, there's only 7 this time. I forgot what the other one was, I didn't count it. So the only weapon I added in this tier list was the ballpoint Splatling, because I realized short range mode on that weapon is extremely good. The strafing is really good, the damage output is really good, even the nerf doesn't even affect the Salmon Run one, which I'm glad that Nintendo did not nerf it, because if so, then it'll be moved down to A tier, however, otherwise, like the other Splatlings. But its damage output is so good because of its fire rate, sheer fire rate, painting, and mobility for its short range mode. Just hard carry from that one single mode it has, which I'm kind of surprised it's actually really good in Salmon Run, still as it is. Yeah, and then for the other weapons like Junior, Aerospray, 52 Gal, 96 Gal, and even Grisco Blaster, I'll move down to A tier. It's because they still do good amount of damage, but I don't feel like they do as much damage as the current S tier weapons like Sploosh, Luna. Flinger Roller is like Splat Roller, but just better vertical fling. But probably maybe go in the original video to find out why I put the weapons up here. Oh, and don't forget Slosher. The single target damage is not as crazy as I thought it was, but it's still a pretty good weapon, and I still put it in A tier. And A tier and B tier, and a little bit of C tier, are all like really good weapons, including S tier as well. Weapons like D tier and below, or C tier and below, are like iffy for me, particularly. So that's why I kind of put more weapons into C tier. That's another reason I want to make the list. Because there was too many weapons in S tier, A tier, and B tier. And there was very little on the last 4. I know there's still very little on the last 3. But there's like now 4 tiers that have a decent amount of weapons. And at least there's some weapons at the bottom to fill in. Yeah. Here's a quick reason why ballpoint went from B tier to S tier. One is because, well, one main reason. Short range mode does a lot of damage, and I didn't realize it from the start, and you can just recharge it to keep it, so you don't transfer it to long range mode to use that ink in too, because long range mode doesn't do as much damage. It still does decent damage, but I think short range mode is something you want to have the entire game of Salmon Run. Junior, Aerospray, 52 Gal, 96 Gal, Grisco Blaster, Grisco Charger, and well, actually, no, not Grisco Charger, Slosher, being moved down from S tier to A tier is because they're still good damaging weapons, but not as crazy with the damage, but still have, like, some more range or so. Well, they're still good weapons, but I don't think they're that good, like S tier. So that's my quick reason. Those weapons I just said are being moved from S tier to A tier. The ballpoint went from B tier to S tier. The weapons that are being moved from B tier to C tier is Flashshot Pro, Jet Scorcher, Clash Blaster, Rapid Blaster, YouTuber, and Slosher. Reasons why their single target damage is not crazy. Well, Flashshot Pro just runs out ink constantly and has bad painting power. Jet Scorcher's single target damage is crap. Clash Blaster's single target damage is crap. Rapid Blaster's group damage is crap. YouTuber's damage is very weird. I still think it's as good as Splat Charge and Splatoscope because of its tap firing. And you have a lot of control over the charge, but I don't think it's that superior to the other charges. So it's like average as the other two, I think. It does paint better, however. Slosher, its single target damage is very mediocre, so that's why it's in C tier. Because its group damage is not that amazing either. But yeah, it doesn't have too much to provide, and it's low mobility as well. It does have good range, but the range does not help you that much in Salmon Run. You just need high ground, which is what Sploosh all it needs. You need mobility, you need killing power, you need painting power, you need ink consumption, that's all you need. Range literally means nothing, at some cases. Depends on the accuracy. Yeah, so Slosh is just C tier because the single target damage is very mediocre and its group damage is average, fairly average. The Sloshing Machine used to be in E tier, but I felt like that was a little too harsh for the weapon, because when I played it, it was not that frustrating or that infuriating. So it's been moved up to D tier. The reason why it's this low down in the first place is because of its piercing power is really weird. Like, its single target damage is pretty good damage, but not amazing damage. It's better than Slosher's, but its piercing is way worse, which is why it's one spot lower than Slosher's. Because Slosher, you can just hit the same target without moving your crosshair or alter your precision. With Sloshing Machine, you have to, like, indirectly hit your targets, which can be annoying. And plus, they take less damage anyways. Or you slosh over them, which is very weird as well, because I don't know which targets you're going to hit anyways. So that's why. But I put it way too low in E tier, and E tier is like the truly bad weapons. Well, F tier is truly worse, you can tell. I'll get into them in a minute. So yeah, Sloshing Machine went too harsh, but I think it's still not the best weapon, I think, for Salmon Run because of its awkward piercing power and single target choices. Its mobility and painting and range is good. But I kind of wish the direct hit still... I wish it was like a Rapid Blaster explosion, so they could still get hit. But yeah, obviously normal game would be more broken. But anyways, move on. As one of the weapons, such as the Dynamo Roller, which is the black one on the left near the E, used to be an F tier with Ink Brush, but I feel like it's a little bit better because of its rolling damage. It can run over so many Coarks. I was thinking of putting it in D tier, but have you noticed the Stinger? You know the Stinger with the ones that are on top of the parts, you have to take out each part? Yeah, Dynamo sucks ass with it, because you have to fling each part, one fling at a time. Dynamo is really slow with it. It's very ink hungry. You only get 5 flings with a full ink tank. One fling takes away 20% of your ink tank. I'm not joking. It's so infuriating. You're forced to use a special to take out a single Stinger. If it would have hit more than one part, I would probably put it in C tier or D tier, and mobility and ink consumption would be only the problems. I feel like the group damage is already settled with its rolling damage is really good. But I'm not gonna lie. So which is why I kind of put it in E tier. But when I say it's really good, I'm not saying it's that good. So, which is why it's not F tier anymore. Because I kind of feel it's like Teddybear. Because Teddybear, you rely on shield for piercing, which is what Sloshing Machine is kind of like. But I think Sloshing Machine is a little bit better because of its mobility, which is why. Teddybear is like slow, heavy. You rely on shield a lot of the time, which is E tier. But its ink consumption and single target damage and group damage altogether isn't bad. It's just they all kind of divide it into own things, which just makes it a really weird hybrid of a weapon to use in Salmon Run, which is why Teddybear is still in E tier. Dynamo, it has good group damage. Single target damage is questionable. It does good damage. It can one hit steelheads with its vertical fling. Horizontal doesn't. But you can use the horizontal to fling groups of salmons from a distance, just to like a quick cleanup. So which is why I put Dynamo in E tier. Oh, and also I forgot, Rapid Blaster Pro as well. Rapid Blaster Pro used to be in C tier as what the regular Rapid Blaster's in, but it's been moved down to D tier because obviously the simple difference between Rapid Blaster Pro and regular Rapid is fire rate and range. Rapid Pro, you want more range, you get more range and a little bit more painting, but it's not great. Regular Rapid, you get more DPS and more mobility, which is why regular Rapid is a little bit better because of the lesser range, but it still has good range. Rapid Blaster Pro is just peak more range, but peak less DPS, which is why regular Rapid is one spot ahead. It's because same damage per shot, but you shoot faster, and you have more mobility because the faster you shoot, the less end lag you have. And Rapid Blaster shoots slower, so it's got more end lag. Same amount as Luna, but its direct damage isn't as good as Luna. And plus it has a lot of RNG when you jump, so you have to be really close up if you want to jump and kill to get that extra boost of mobility with the weapon anyways. So yeah, which is why Rapid Blaster Pro is moved down by one spot as well, such as D tier. So it's about the same, it's equal to Sloshing Machine. It has good group, it's got somewhat good group damage, but not amazing. It's better group damage than Sloshing Machine, but single target damage is a little iffy as well. It actually does less damage per direct shot than Sloshing Machine, even though in normal game, Rapid Blaster does more damage per direct. But in Salmon Run, Sloshing Machine does more, which does not really make any sense. And I think goes for this. I think the indirects do the same amount of damage. I think so in Salmon Run. But yeah, I think Rapid Blaster Pro is like regular Rapid Blaster, but just more range, but less DPS. And obviously, you know what happens to weapons with more range and less DPS? One spot lower. Except Jet and Pro. Splasher Pro does more damage. Jet Scorcher does equally amount of damage to normal chums. 3 shots to chums. Pro does 3 shots to chums. But 1 shot small fries. Jet Squelcher has to shoot 2 shot. But Jet Squelcher can shoot faster, has more mobility, and has more range. But obviously the range wouldn't really matter much. But I feel like, because, well, its ink consumption isn't as severe as Pro's. Splasher Pro's ink consumption's more worse than Jet's. Which is another reason why I put, well, there's a reason why I put them both in C tier, anyways. But, anyways, move on. So, in my original tier list, in the actual video, I know it's over almost 50 minutes long. It took me ages to upload, but it doesn't matter. I originally put Rapid Pro in D tier. I should have left it as it is, because of its low DPS. But it's just because it will be so far apart to the regular Rapid. And I should have just put Rapid down to C tier. But now I did in the newer one, obviously. But yeah, in the older one, I moved it up because of the regular Rapid, just to make them a tier apart, because obviously they're similar, but one's moves a little bit better with the fire rate and mobility, while the other one's just a little bit more range. So yeah, in here, Grisco Charger and Grisco Charger are C tier, but in the newer Salmon Run tier list I made, Grisco Charger is way better than I thought. Despite its flings take up 25% of its ink tank, and uses up more ink than Dynamo does, it's more bearable because it's a slosher, which means if you jump and fling, it's a lot more because with Dynamo you don't have to worry about, well, with the weapon you don't have to worry about having less aerial damage but more vertical damage like Dynamo, which makes, because if you jump and fling you get vertical, so you have to like fling and then jump. With this you just jump and fling, just like any other sloshers do, like X-Washer. But the reason I put Grisco Charger from C tier to B tier is because, well, it can pierce through armor, like Steelhead. It can kill them. It can one-shot flings. With X-Washer, it's one of the only these two weapons are the only weapons in the game that can take out the flyfish without using a bomb. Every other weapon, you need a bomb sub. But X-Washer and Grisco Charger, you can just take them out. Grisco Charger, you only need one fling directly to the small fry in the seat part of the machine. And with X-Washer, you just fling your shot into the thing because it explodes onto it. So it behaves like an explosion attack. So it kills as well. Which I like it. So, and also with Grisco Charger, its projectile's slow, but it kind of helps you guide through the salmons. And it does so much damage and it's so much pierce. Something that Sloshing Machine should have been, because it's like that, but it pierces through instead of getting cart blocked immediately. Because it's like Sloshing Machine but on steroids. But obviously it's not anywhere higher because of the slow mobility, the end lag, the start and end lag as well, and the amount of shots you can only get. But the reason why it's in B tier, not like lower like Dynamo, is because, well, it can pierce through armor. Dynamo doesn't. You have to rely on the rolling. And this weapon pretty much destroys any salmon it attacks, despite using so much ink per fling. It doesn't fling too slow, it's just the start end lag, and also the low mobility. In fact, if you didn't know, and I didn't know either, all the Grisco weapons have more swim speed than any other weapon in the game, which means they have lightweight swim speed. So the Grisco Charger's got another reason why it's higher than Dynamo, because it's got more mobility with its swimming than Dynamo does. Dynamo's heavyweight. Grisco Charger, for whatever reason, is lightweight. Same goes with the other Grisco weapons, Charger, Brother, Blaster, etc. And when I used the Grisco Charger, I actually very well enjoyed the weapon. It will be broken in normal game for sure. They would have to like somewhere balance the weapon because the projectiles would do so much damage. I don't know actually, but anyways, move on. Grisco Charger. The reason why it's one spot higher is because it's got good mobility. Painting's not bad. You get 8 shots and it can run out of ink the fastest if you just spam, because it doesn't have any partial charge. It's got infinite charge, which means it charges faster than Bamboo, where you just tap fire and it's still a full charge. You only have to charge if it's like low on ink, but it still charges really fast, faster than Bamboo. But you can't do in between shots, so you do need ink regardless, which is kind of clever mechanic. But yeah, I'm not talking about that. The reason why it's A tier, it's one spot away from S tier. If it was in S tier, if it would have killed small fries much more easier than it does right now, which it struggles because they're small targets and it uses up like 1/8 of its ink tank, like 10% of its ink tank, I think it is. No, it doesn't. I think it's 15%. I don't know. So yeah, 8 shots per small, 1/8 of a shot on small fry is just like a lot of waste of ink, especially when there's multiple of them, which gets really tedious to take them out on. But groups of chums and co-ops, they're just easy peasy lemon squeezy. So if it was an S tier, I mean, okay, first off, if it would have able to take out small fries much more easier, it would have been easily S tier. But it's one spot away because it can't handle small fries. It's one spot away. It's so close to S tier, but it's A tier because it can't handle small fries. That's the problem. Anyway, so yeah, pretty much. Also, okay, so the reason why I moved it up in A tier, or reasons why it's so good, is because it can take out single targets, even more at full ink tank. Just tap fire the hell out of them to insta kill them, because the Grisco Charger does the most damage, the fastest DPS in the game, but it runs out the fastest because obviously 8 shots is the amount you can only get, and also it shreds scrappers, it shreds drizzlers, it does, for whatever reason it has to 2-shot steelheads, but it doesn't matter because it shoots really fast, and also Bamboo's also 2-shot. Every other charger it's 1-shot. Anyway, so yeah. Grisco Charger is pretty good. If it wasn't for the bad small fry DPS, the small fry weakness, it would have been S tier. So yeah, it's a shame, but it's pretty cool. It's still a really cool weapon. It's still fun to play with. Very optimistic. I forgot about the Gootuber and Hydra. Anyway, so with the Gootuber, I kind of overestimate it from being like good. Like I put in B tier, 1 spot higher than Spot Charger and Sparkscope for simply having a better tap shot firing. Because obviously you want a tap fire, and the Gootuber Charger is really slow, so you have to rely on the tap firing. And I kind of overestimate the weapon a bit. It still is better at tap firing damage. I mean, I think it does a little bit more damage with the partial damage. I'm not really sure until I play a Salmon Run game, if there's 2 charges at the game. But I don't know, I don't know if Gootuber does more damage with the half charge in Salmon Run, because its full charge damage is still pre-patch, which means it still does the same amount of damage as Splat Charge and Splatoscope's full charge damage as well. Which is very a shame, because I would put it higher if that was the case. Wouldn't you all agree, for the slower charge and the less range? I'm a bit surprised. I get it because of the mobility and the painting and such. And also, Splat Charge and Splatoscope have not gotten a paint nerf in Salmon Run. In normal game it did. They did, but in Salmon Run, they left it, which I'm so glad they did, because, well, it'll be more annoying to play around with. I mean, it'll be still in the same spot as it is right now, but I'm glad they didn't remove the painting. So the extra paint that Gootuber has doesn't really mean anything, essentially. But the Gootuber, I still think it's not bad either. Its tap firing is just equally as good as Splat Charge and Splatoscopes, even though Ela is like that, but I don't know. The Gootuber, you can play around with your charge, in my defense. Anyway, so the Hydra Splatling, the reason why it's C tier is because with the other Splatlings, it can't get full charge. The other Splatlings, they can get full charge, including Nautilus and Ballpoint, but with Ballpoint you only need short range mode. With Hydra, you're very slow, you're very vulnerable, and also if you do partial shots, you spend as much time firing with the duration than the charging, which is what the Nautilus suffers, which is why it's in B tier, while Mini and Heavy are A tier, and Ballpoint is S tier. Oh yeah, let me explain that one first. If you all didn't know, you spend more time using up the rest of your duration on a Splatling than spending time to recharge it again. Like Ballpoint, you can just charge really little and you get quite a bit of short range modes durability, but like Ballpoint, Mini, and Heavy do get that. Even though some of them are like, Mini's like smaller difference, like it's very small difference that duration has a little bit more. And main power increases it even further, by the way. Heavy Splatling is more noticeable already. Ballpoint Splatling is like already noticeable. Hydra does get that, but however, the first charge circle, it charges slow, and if you get to this point, it runs out the same speed as the amount of time you spend charging it. But if you get to the second charge circle, it speeds up, and that duration still drains the same speed as the first charge circle. So that's why I'm saying it gets more, because obviously you spend so much time on the first charge. It's just preventing from the Hydra from being too good at up-close interacting, because of its insane fast kill time. Which is why I put it in C tier, because of its low DPS for its... Well, its DPS is still really good. It's just... It's mobility and vulnerability, and you don't get enough range as well. And you have to move around a lot, like fly fishes and... drizzlers, ink storms can get in the way of disturb your charge, and you have to move on to try and get a better charge. The other Splatlings should be full charge by now. Hydra, you don't even get full charge. Anyways, if you by the time you get a full charge, you're just dead, or you have to move on essentially. Which is why it's in C tier. It's because like when it's partial charge, you don't get enough DPS out of it, and even if you do, you're very slow anyways. But it's still a fun weapon regardless. It's a little bit annoying. Like if you keep getting overwhelmed, you can't get enough time to get to full charge. With the other Splatlings like Nautilus, the reason why Nautilus is in B tier while the other Splatlings are higher, but Hydra is lower, is because, like I said, the Splatlings get more duration spent than charging it up again. But with Nautilus, it's equal, which means if you charge it up twice, like 2 charge circles it has, like every other Splatling has, it runs out the same speed. Every other Splatling, it charges fast, and then it runs out slowly. You see what I'm talking about? Yeah, so with Nautilus, it's equal as each other. It's just prevent it from being, like, too good of a Splatling for normal game. It really annoys me for, like, Salmon Run, because with main power up, it really helps in normal game. Because then with main power up, it increases the duration, making it slower to drain, which also is kind of like a reverse save in main. But yeah. With Nautilus, the reason why it's B tier, and the other reasons why, is because its strafe and mobility is as bad as the Hydra. And ballpoint Splatling is long range mode, but you don't get to that anyways, because you have ballpoint's short range mode, which has a lot of mobility regardless, between charging and its short range mode's mobility. But the reason why the Nautilus is 1 spot higher than the Hydra is because it's got the hold charge mechanic, and it can recharge as well. So you can carry up all that DPS anyways. And plus, its range, its maximum range is also its minimal range. Like with Bamboo, when you're charging the weapon, you still have the same range regardless. It's just you're building up more power. Bamboo, you get more damage and more pain full charge, but obviously it uses up more ink. With Nautilus, you get more fire rate, which means or more firepower in general, which is what you want. And main power up makes it even better, essentially. But obviously, you can't have main power up in Salmon Run, so it's irrelevant. Which is why Nautilus is in B tier, but its DPS is still as good as Hydra, Mini, and Heavy. Ballpoint's higher because its close range mode's damage is more insane than ever. Nautilus and Hydra are just slow, and, well, Nautilus doesn't get enough DPS. Hydra is slow and does get DPS, but it's really slow for it. And Mini and Heavy are just as equal as each other. Mini has a really short duration, but its mobility and charge speed is really fast and insane, and painting. Heavy Spine gets more firepower and more range, so it's like they're both as good as each other, regardless. Like, Heavy Spine just pretty much outclasses Hydra in Salmon Run at this point. But anyways, yeah. The next and last ones is the Carbon Roller and Bamboozler. In my original Salmon Run tier list, Carbon Roller and Bamboozler were in A tier, but in my current Salmon Run tier list, my new one, they're both in B tier. Why, you may ask? Well, first off, Carbon Roller has really short range, and its DPS is like equal as Splat Roller and Flings a Roller's horizontal fling. Even though you can use vertical fling for more range and it does more damage, but you're slowing down your horizontal fling in general, Carbon Roller is still a good weapon, but I feel like it's kind of moved down to B tier. I was thinking of leaving it in A tier, but compared to Splat Roller, it's a little bit more tedious because you have to spam and you have to go a lot more closer, which results you from getting bumped off the map, essentially. Which is one thing you have to be careful with the rollers, by the way. Dynamo, it wouldn't be a problem because you can just roll, but obviously it's way lower because of the, well, you know, mobility, single target damage issues and such. Yeah, so if you compare the Carbon Roller to the Splat Roller is just a little bit better because it's got more range, and plus its group damage is a little bit better. Carbon Roller, you need to, like, hit them together. Splat Roller, you have to hit them together as well, but it's more easier because you have more range. But obviously, range doesn't mean it's better. But in this situation, they both do equal as much damage as each other, but Splat Roller has more range. I know Carbon Roller's got more mobility, but Splat Roller has more painting mobility, and plus you both can roll, but Carbon Roller can't run over. Splat Roller can, but not Coax, obviously, because otherwise it outclasses Dynamo completely, because Dynamo needs to run over Coax, because otherwise it has nothing. So yeah, which is why I put Carbon Roller in B tier. Next is the Bamboozler. I was also thinking of putting it in A tier as well, but I was thinking of its group damage isn't really that good, and plus there's too many weapons in A tier anyway, so with Bamboo in A tier, left in A tier, A tier will just be more cluttered than ever. But so it's a lot more reasonable why Bamboozler's in B tier. Well, funny enough, the name starts with the B as well, so very fitting anyways. But anyways, so the reason why is because one is the group damage. Squiffer does better with the group damage, and and also they both have really good single target damage. Both Bamboozler and Squiffer. When it comes to like hitting the same target over and over again, Squiffer is a little bit better because you can jump and charge, which avoids a lot of things, and you rarely tap fire because of how very little of enemies you have to deal with. well, minus the small fries, it's really good, and its painting's pretty good with its full charge. So it's like, you pretty much want to keep... Squiffer's just better, I think. With Bamboozler, on the other hand, it does have good single target damage, and it does get its range way faster because, well, the tap fire... The cool thing about the tap firing on Bamboo is that it can one-shot the pots as well. Squiffer, you have to slightly charge it, obviously. But I think Squiffer's a little bit better because of the... If we talk about, like, full charge and firepower in general, they both have same single target damage. But Squiffer has piercing power, Bamboo doesn't really have it. It has collateral damage, but it can't pierce through multiple targets. And plus you have to, like, keep spamming over and over again. With Squiffer, you can just simply just charge, hold, re-hold the trigger, and that's it. So, yeah, which is why I put Bamboozler one spot lower than Squiffer. Because I think Squiffer's got more piercing power, and it's a lot more smoother of a weapon than Bamboozler is in Salmon Run. Every other weapon, I left them in the same spot. I think I'm completely happy about them. Like, I still think Blobber is still really good of a weapon as an S tier weapon. I still think Ink Brush sucks ass in Salmon Run because it's got lack of range. It does run out ink quite fast. As much as you try to do as much damage as possible with the Ink Brush, you just drain ink as well. And also, it does have really good mobility, but if you're in high tide spawning grounds, you are completely screwed. And plus, Octopus does better anyways, despite having slightly more worse ink consumption, but its damage output is way better. And its mobility just feels mostly the same. It's more like, with Ink Brush, you just travel faster, and you're more immune to enemy ink. But in Salmon Run, it's not really that matter for the Octopus, because it has bigger trails anyways. But yeah, that's just my opinion. So yeah, this is my Splatoon 2 Salmon Run tier list. The original, it was over 47 minutes long. I think it was over 50 minutes long, but it got cut down to 47 or something. I don't know. But anyway, so this one's over 30 minutes long, as far as I'm recording. So yeah, what do you guys think of my tier list anyways? And also, yet again, thank you for 70 views in less than a year, which I don't really get that. That video was made less than a year ago, and it got already over 70 views. Well, I kind of expected it to get quite a bit of views, because it is Splatoon 2 Salmon Run, and not many people talk about Salmon Run, and it's like, well, obviously the Splatoon 2 fans are coming in. But, and as much as I am myself a Splatoon 2 fan, I'm very happy and appreciate it. So, I'm actually wondering this time, what you think of my current Salmon Run tier list. Do you prefer the old one? Do you prefer the new one? Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. If not, then you can do whatever the hell you want. You can just keep watching my videos without sub. I'm completely fine with it. And see you guys all later. Bye.